thank you all for your time and sacrifices, which I call selfless sacrifices. And it's not just common, I call them uncommon sacrifices. We can't equate them. So today I'll be talking about solving neglected signals for better Africa. And one of the things that inspired me has to do with my identity, who am I, and why Africa. Okay, I'm a village boy, and why I always use that labeling for myself is what inspires me as a person is my personal experience. And in my village, we do not have things like pipe-borne water, electricities, and all that. And so, when I started my personal research about life and how to give life a meaning, after passing through different intellectual epochs, and I said to myself that there should be something called TAFFD. And TAFFD's Transdisciplinary Agora for Future Discussions is born out of my advocacy as a transdisciplinary activist. And you see what happened with Karl Marx, the German philosopher, who talked about class struggle. And for me, this happened also in the intellectual milieu. You see people trying to place their field ahead of other fields. And I said, we should have an agora, which is a Greek word for marketplace, where we come together, bring our ideas together to make a better society, to improve our lives. And so our vision is to have, let's say, 3 billion geniuses that will help us understand, not just understanding of reality, but translating reality better. I mean, if we have 3 billion minds or geniuses across the world that understands reality and bring it into our dashboard with our experts, who will have a better life. So let's talk about the neglected signals in Africa. And I mentioned we are suffering from what I call systemic colonialism. And by that I mean that whatever we use in our policy formulation as a continent is influenced. And most people tend not to see this. There is a psychological disruption in the mind as we perceive things, because I did talk about the problem of African Union, and at the Berlin Conference of 1893, decision, Africa was shared on a table and no Africa was there. And the decision or the proceedings of that conference is not, Africans don't know the proceeding of the conference and what was decided. And at that table, Africa was partitioned and regions, cultures amalgamated, which is affecting the continent. So I have been in a conference where I debated about this. And in my debate, I was asked by a friend from Europe, what is the duty of African Union? You can't blame us because your union, they are incompetent and they are not bringing up issues like this. Just take a look at the UN, United Nations. There is no Africa in the Security Board. So it is also a neglected signal. Now, another thing which I touched during the panel discussion is Africa not confident in themselves to build and believe because of a lack of infrastructure. There are a lot of things that we can do as a people, but we cannot do that because you might think there won't be energy. Trying to build cryonics, here you will imagine not having electricity to facilitate that. So it is also an opportunity for people to really come in and invest in energy. Now, the most important neglected signal for me is what I call Africa not calling to mind property rights in the age of digital inheritance. And by that I mean there will be a time when people would prefer having a domain than having 5 plots of land. There will be a time that a Facebook account will be more valuable than 10 acres of land. And people are not thinking in this direction. The data of Africa is in the hands of the West and the European. Why? Because even the governments, their database are in the hands of the Europeans. There is no company in Africa, and I challenge cybersecurity experts here, there is no company in Africa that hosts a website. You can't, it's not possible because when there is no electricity, the servers, those that are hosting with you, they will miss connection. And losing connection and in a minute or 2 minutes cost Facebook over $8 billion the last time. And so how can someone entrust such amount of money in a continent that can't host the domain? And by that, you see, we can't even say that we own our information. So we depend on people that must have failed us several times. We depend and we have entrusted them with our information. And for me, what happened in the past, history might still repeat itself if we don't look into that. And this is what the government needs to look into. And why is it also a problem when we talk about mind uploading? How can we do such a thing in Africa? It is also something that we need to look into. So, some of the key neglected signals and maybe a way TAFFDs can come in and apply or be the panacea to solving these neglected problems could be things like future studies, and bringing in or developing future studies in the curriculum would help us to solving these problems. And training job creators. Most of the universities we have in Africa are good at graduating job seekers instead of job creators. Why? Because the professors or the lecturers are not taken good care of. So I think we should also have a kind of decentralized learning model. By decentralized learning model, I mean just what is happening with the blockchain communities. We should have a portal where people can plug in without paying to train themselves and see a way of understanding and translating their reality better. Okay, in this time, we see in the life of the youth the problem of gaming. It's really a disruption and a kind of a distraction. So we can also change gamification into a learning model. So as they play the game, they get satisfied, they learn a skill. Maybe you just code it in such a way that when you do this and solve this problem, you win an award or you get something or you get certificates. So giving a voice to the voiceless, giving people the platform and the opportunity for and to become. So creating the Africa we are, by this, we can then create the Africa we are picture to feature in the future, which starts now. So, but some of all these things, people do not really call them to mind. And I think it is not the best ideas that win, but the most visible ideas. So when people bring up ideas, we criticize them, we call them names. Yes, give it a time. I think it will make sense as we proceed. So a practical example is African sciences, invention and innovations are seen as what? Pseudosciences. And I asked myself, what is a pseudoscience? What was the origin of the celebrated sciences you hear today? That's a question to really ponder upon. And as you all know, the future is now. And I believe that we all have worked so hard to be here. We have worked so hard to live. So it behoves on us to take up this challenge in preserving our own kind and building a better society. So to wrap it up, I would like to thank some of our supporters and sponsors across the world, and in a very special way, I would also like to mention that one of those that inspired me in what I'm doing with Professor Obidi. He has been my mentor for over the years, and most people see him as someone with controversial ideas, and some of these ideas are really making sense in recent time. So I would like to also thank the Northwest Tourism Board and the head of marketing subcommittee. I'm sorry if I didn't get this name properly. Can you help me pronounce it? Okay. Okay, Mrs. Slauzi Mogami. So sorry. And the other mommy in the house, Dr. Lita, and she's been here ever since we started, and she's been very supportive and encouraging, and she is a commissioner at the AU African Union. So I would love to thank my brother who has been supportive, Dr. Charles Awuzie, and he's also representing the transhuman coin. So this book, so if you need a book, Seizing Our Singularity, Future and Entrepreneurial Guides, it's available on Amazon. This book was born out of the course we designed for Techidia Institute USA, and they have branches across African countries. The course was Singularity and Business Execution in Africa. So after the course, the facilitators, one of the facilitators wrote to us that why not turn this into a book? And we did, which was later edited by Edward Hodgins, our Director for Future Studies. So the book here, Ending Aging, the Rejuvenation Breakthrough that could reverse human aging in our lifetime. This book was written by our grand patron, Dr. Aubrey de Grey. So the idea is we'll use the book for outreach programs, donating it to universities to encourage research on aging, because Afrolongevity is not going to just be a movement, it will also be also a field of study. So we need to encourage researchers, we need to encourage undergraduates. So we also have a book here, Transhumanism, What Is It? And there is a problem in the healthcare sector. And we also have a publishing hub the TFDS publishers. We help people to publish their ideas because of the problem we have also in our continent. Lecturers, their books remain just in the university, and most people in Europe and America don't have access to the works of our great thinkers and academicians. So Nonye wrote this book with a product of over 35 experience in the healthcare sector. He said the problem that we have in the healthcare sector is not just the lack of technologies or tools or experts, but the problem of communication. So she wrote this book, Think, Communicate, and Heal, and with 2 guidebooks for the clinicians and the patients. The idea is for healthcare providers to have a more democratic communication when there is a problem. So the last but not the least is the transhuman coin. There's the token for one was a key holder, then one we are giving some of our delegates and the speakers that participated in these events. So it is a treasure, it's something that is monetary and the value is there. So you can save it up when it scales to, let's say, a bigger amount, you can transact it through the, you can visit the website to learn more about how to do that. Once more, I thank all of you, but this thank you is not enough if I don't do it properly. We are excited, but on a second thought, this is not a talk show. The conference proceeding is where the work lies. And no organization can do that without a good leadership. So the brain box behind this, our CEO, it takes to have people who are selfless. By that I mean people who can really give in their best to make things happen. And like I said in my previous presentation, she is a peripatetic futurist. She's been interviewed of recent by high reputable media on how she is projecting with her principles and powerful ideas with regards to futurism in Africa. So she's been doing a lot of work. We've adopted some schools in the Northwest, and we are pushing these ideas because without grassroots sensitization, you might not get it right. So in our future studies program, we are trying to develop curriculum from the basic to the university level. And it's going to be a kind of a comprehensive work to take Africa to the next level. Thank you, thank you, thank you.